The next two we're going to look at are the inverse properties, the additive inverse and the multiplicative inverse. So the additive inverse, which we definitely covered in 7th grade, the additive inverse are those opposites. So, for example, 3 and -3 are opposites of each other. When we're looking at additive inverses, there's some important facts here. We know that a number and its additive inverse are always going to add up to what is 3 plus -3? 0. So a number, we'll just put, they always sum up. They always sum to 0. And above sum, I'm just going to put a little plus sign. So remember that sum means plus. And another fun little fact about these is that their absolute values are, if I take the absolute value of 3, that's 3. If I take the absolute value of -3, that's also 3, because -3 is still 3 spaces from 0. So their absolute values are equal. A number and its additive inverse, they have the same absolute values, and they'll always sum up to 0. And then we can move on to our multiplicative inverse. The multiplicative inverse is similar to the additive inverse, but obviously using multiplication instead of addition. So the multiplicative inverse is known as that reciprocal, R-E-C-I-P-R-O-C. Reciprocal. I'm not sure about that spelling, but we'll go with it. Nope. Reciprocal. I could just Google it real quick. I don't know. Oh well. Anyways, moving on. So, examples of reciprocals. If I have 1/3, the reciprocal of 1/3 would be 3/1. If I have -2/3, the reciprocal of -2/3 would be -3/2. Notice how I'm not changing the sign at all like I was with the additive inverse. Additive inverse is changing the sign from positive to negative. Multiplicative inverse is just simply flipping that fraction. So reciprocal, aka flip the fraction. And with your multiplicative inverse, they will always multiply to, what happens if I multiply 1/3 times 3? Well, 3 times 1 is 3, 3 times 1 is 3, 3/3 is 1, so a number and its multiplicative inverse are always going to sum or multiply up to 1. Just like a number and its additive inverse will always add to 0. Same kind of thing there.